is I, Tentus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire. Welcome. It's time to continue our talk about Vampire the Masquerade. We've been talking about the dramatic physical systems that you can encounter. Basically, the various things you might have to be rolling for that involve your body while in the game. Let's talk about swimming. Vampires aren't really friends of water. They have a kind of aversion to it because they don't swim. They sink. They don't need to breathe. They don't have to worry about drowning that way, but they're just not buoyant either, so they sink. Now, if you wish to swim, it is a Dex plus athletics check, and the difficulty will depend on the conditions of said water. Every success you have is going to be an amount of distance you're going to make while swimming, or amount of time you can stay afloat if you're just trying to float in the water. The normal amounts are 5 feet for the movement per success, or 5 minutes of floating per success. This is assuming that it's based around your story. It might call for different systems, depending on how dramatic, how things are going along with whatever scene you're in, that your storyteller could adjust these numbers. A botch is going to mean you're going to lose ground. Either you're going to sink like a stone and make it really hard for you to get back up to the surface, or if you're swimming and trying to get distance, maybe you get caught in a tide, which drags you farther back than when you started. Now let's talk about stunt driving. This is really just any kind of crazy maneuvers you might be doing in a car, usually involved in a chase or something else that you have to do crazy driving around. It's going to be based around whatever kind of maneuver you're going at, whatever kind of speed you're traveling at. These will be factors in the difficulty or challenge of whatever you're trying to do. Normally it is a dex, sometimes perception, plus drive that you will be rolling. The difficulty is going to be based around whatever maneuver you're attempting to do, usually 2 to 7 depending on the difficulty of said maneuver, but it will be enhanced by the speed you'll be traveling at. Your storyteller will come up with a base speed, which they think it will be the average speed for going at this maneuver safely. For every 10 miles per hour you are faster than that speed, you increase the difficulty by 1 up to, of course, the normal maximums. The unfortunate thing also is that the maneuverability tells you the max number of die you can roll on this check. So though you might have a very high dex plus drive, if the maneuverability of your vehicle is very low, then your dice pool will be maxed out at that maneuverability. So the more maneuverable the car, the more dice you get to roll. There is a chart in the book that tells you the safe driving speed for a vehicle, a list of vehicles, tells you their safe driving speed, max speed, and their maneuverability. So that you know, for each of these different types of vehicles, what the maximum numbers would be for rolling for it. Now next we talk about pursuit. Pursuit is when one character is attempting to chase down another character. When a pursuit starts, traditionally one side is going to have some form of advantage at this pursuit. It will either be determined a number of successes, that person is ahead, determined by your storyteller, or the storyteller would choose to have that person roll a number of dex athletic checks for however many rounds they are in advance, and add up those successes to the buffer of how much it will cost for the guy pursuing the other one to catch up. Then, on each subsequent turn, each side rolls a dex plus athletics check and compares the successes. If the one trying to run away gets more successes, the difference is added to their number they had from before. If the one trying to catch up and catch them gets more successes, it's subtracted from the total they need to catch up. Now, of course, when they catch up, they can do things like try to grapple the person, which we move into grapple rules, or they could just make enough distance that it will be reasonable to shoot them and get a little better range in there. Regardless, if the one person trying to escape, the one person trying to run away, there will be a set number of successes, usually 7 to 20, that your storyteller will determine based upon whatever kind of terrain you're in, that when they get that far, they've gotten away. They've gotten to a distance where it will be impossible for the one that's been pursuing them to catch up. So it is a system of roll-offs to see who gets closer or farther, so the amount of effective distance, which is the number of successes, goes up and down as the chase goes on. Now, if any side fails, it just means they're not making any headway. That means they effectively are either not necessarily stopped in their tracks, but they're not doing anything to change the distance between the two of them. On the other hand, if they botch, that means they've effectively tripped up, done something to stop, and they would lose their next turn of rolling. So that's what a botch would do to you. So not only do you not get any successes on your turn that you botched, meaning you didn't really make any headway, and the other person probably did, but you also then lose a turn as part of a botch. Hurrah! Now let's talk about stealing, because there are times and circumstances that could cause one of your characters to have to take something from someone else. Now, if you have a humanity higher than 7, you're going to have to roll it if you're stealing something, because that is in the range that it messes with your humanity. So it's a humanity check at that point in time. There are circumstances that could raise or lower that amount of humanity depending on what kind of thing you're doing with stealing. If let's say you're stealing from someone who's sick and might die because you steal from it, it's probably going to be a much lower humanity you're going to be rolling than, let's say, if you're just taking from someone that has a huge pile of money and you're taking $10 from them. It's a drop in a hat for them. It actually might be a little higher. But traditionally, 7 is the threshold that you don't have to worry about it. Now, there are 4 types of stealing, or 4 types of actions you can do when stealing something. Each one has their own basic systems. Now, first is shoplifting. You can make a dex plus streetwise to attempt to shoplift something. Failure just means that whoever's in charge, the shopkeep, is suspicious. Botch means they've caught you red-handed getting something. Successes mean you've managed to sort of pocket it. Now, the shopkeep gets a perception plus alertness roll to see if they notice anything. 1 success, they are suspicious of you. They've noticed something that you were doing. 5 successes means they've completely noticed what you've done. Now, the difficulty of your dex plus streetwise roll will be 8, unless circumstance says it's differently. Now, you can do something to counteract the shopkeep noticing you. You can make a difficulty 8 perception plus streetwise check. That each success you make on this check, to be a little bit more stealthy or unnoticed about what you're doing, subtracts 1 from the shopkeeper's successes that they got on their perception plus alertness. So you can not only roll to see if you can successfully pocket empty you can also roll to see if you were doing the right things and not, moving to the right spots to be unnoticed. Now you can pickpocket something as a dex plus streetwise check. The difficulty for you to get that is going to be the target's perception plus alertness. Now, if you succeed or fail, not botch because they caught you red-handed, they can get a perception plus alertness check of their own still, that each success they get gets you a little bit more suspicious. Like 1, they barely by chance moved out of the way. 2, they kind of noticed something was going on but don't know what. 3, they noticed you completely. Now you can also be a cat burglar. Cat burglar is going to be based on a lot of perception versus stealth checks repeatedly over time. It's going to be much more of a scene, actually, so you're probably going to be role-playing that a lot more than just some simple die rolls. If someone wants to break into a building and steal some things, it's a lot more complex. But it is going to be based upon a lot of, again, as I said, perception and stealth, going against each other, trying to maneuver through an area and successfully get something and get back out. Now, the last one is you can, of course, have a hold-up. Hold-up, you're going to be rolling your intimidation plus manipulation with a difficulty of the shopkeeper or whoever you're sticking up's willpower. Now, should you get any successes, for each success you have, that person cowers for 1 minute. You have a minute to do whatever you need to do properly before you have to check again. If you fail, there's a chance they might do something. They might try something. They'll look for an opening to attempt to do something like grab a gun, call the cops, things like that. If you botch, they're going to do it. They're going to go for the alarm. They're going to go for the gun. If a shopkeeper is killed in the result of a robbery, then yeah, you probably are going to have to roll a humanity roll if someone is killed as a result of any of these kind of stealing. You're not going to have nearly as much humanity for that one. That's it for today. I finished up with talking about the physical dramatic systems. I'm going to talk about the social ones next time, about things you can roll when socially interacting with other people and seeing how you can affect them with your words rather than your actions. So if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel, the empire, and the work I do. And until the next time, I bid you farewell.